that thing.
All right.
Well, welcome to the A Dab of That podcast with Moffat the
Prophet and Charlene in the house.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's actually it's pretty awesome. When you sent me that message, I was like, dude, of course. I mean, not even a second thought.
Yeah. Well, we wrote that when we first started. We have that board right there. We're just writing down, like, who do you want to have on? Who do you want to have on? Right there above that little dragon. I was just like, dude, put my coach on there. Like, I bet we could have Aaron in here, talk about some MMA, talk about his gym, all that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's basically what I've done the past 12 years. It's just been martial arts, other than, working some BS jobs to fund that journey. Kind of where I met Mr. Moffat over here.
Yeah, that was my very first job,
10,
actually.
12 years ago, man. I thought that was crazy because I was like, oh, he's got a podcast. Let me check it out.
Yeah,
and then I was like,
world.
I know this guy from somewhere. And it took me a while. I'm like, he's still
I know. I had to look at it. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
who's that
man.
dude?
Small
The
world,
dish
small
pit
world.
at Joe's Barbecue.
The older you get, the smaller it gets, man.
What
It's
year was
just
that?
nuts.
Like 2011?
It had to have
had
been.
to have been. I mean,
Yeah, because
yeah. Like, we all started high school in, what, 2009?
yeah, I'd already had a few fights at that point. Colin was training real heavily with me as well. He's the one that actually got me that job over at Joe's Barbecue, so that way
I think I remember that.
I could continue to try to train and chase that. And Colin was one of those guys, man. I've known him my whole life. Super ride or die kind of guy.
Shout out to Colin.
Yeah,
What's up,
shout out to
man?
Colin, man.
He's
Shout
the
out to
one,
Colin.
we trained with him at the gym, right?
Yeah, man, he came in and sparred, and first day he's in there sparring with me again. He ends up breaking his ankle, of course.
Oh, my God.
The most accident-prone guy I know. Like, he's never had a fight where he has not been hit in the nuts. It just, it doesn't happen, like...
Accident prone?
Yeah, and like it usually happens like right in the first round, and I'll be cornered and I'll be like, all right, look, it's already out of the way. We got that part out of the way. We can keep going. We knew that was going to happen. It always does.
He's the one, he took over a couple times at Infinity, right?
Yeah, he coached a few classes
I
for
hated
me.
every time he was the coach because, like, oh, it's going to be a hard one.
Yeah, man, he'll work the shit out of you.
So
but,
you're a coach at a MMA gym, huh?
yeah, man, so I was...
Oracle MMA, is that what
Oracle
it's called?
MMA, yeah. So, which will, I guess by the time this airs, won't be there anymore, actually. That's kind of some big news there.
Will it
Yeah,
still,
tell us about that. Just tell us about that.
Will it
So-
still be the same name, or is the person...
Nah, so actually, this has been the hardest part about navigating this whole, I guess, step in the journey, is that trying to find somebody that I felt comfortable coming in and taking over, that I thought would do, my current students justice, right? Like, I didn't want to leave guys like you or anybody else, with a coach that, isn't going to lead them in the right direction. I had one guy in mind. Things just didn't work out with that deal. Kind of last minute got approached by another guy that, fights in the same weight class as me. He's a 125er, so he's a little bit smaller. I usually fought at 35. But tough dude. Won a couple of amateur titles, tough guy. He's got a gym right now. But it's a situation where basically the programs are going to get merged. He's going to be able to come in, have a bigger spot. He's got a cage he's going to bring in and set up.
Oh, for real?
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, which is something that I always wanted to do, man, but I just, I was
Shit's
still,
expensive.
it is, and I was still
it's
trying to
not
work
cheap.
a full-time job and try to, navigate that, and then, my wife being out of town for a while kind of threw me for a loop, because I went from living with my mom to living with her, so I've never not had a woman to be like, I don't know if I would do that, so, it was real quick. My socks didn't match anymore, little things like that. So that's going to be happening. It's going to be a new name. He's going to come in and pretty much just take over entirely. It's going to be a whole new name and everything. He's going to be able to do a lot more for the facility that I just wasn't able to do. COVID kind of screwed a lot of things up.
Yeah.
For everybody. So
Yeah, I
I
remember.
bet that's a hard decision to make.
Oh, dude, I mean, I took off on this venture on my own for the first time. Like, okay, man, I'm in charge. Like, I'm the leaseholder. I got to make sure the bills are paid. And
It's
then
like giving your baby away. Huh?
within a calendar year, they're like, hey, bro, you got to close because, like, everybody's dying.
That's
And you're like, so that's been cool. But we did good. We were only closed for a couple months. We were able to kind of slowly open back up, do it a little more safely for a while, and then it got to a point where, I realized that everybody who's training there, like, we all take pretty good care of ourselves. We're all pretty healthy. I'm more worried about y'all giving me staph infection than COVID. Like, let's get in there and let's get some work done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So it didn't take us long to bounce back, but some people didn't make it back in, whether it was COVID, life, other stuff. Got a lot more new guys came in than I did, I think, old students, which was not really how I anticipated that working out. But, it was cool. We were able to keep the doors open, which, a lot of people weren't. So thankful for that. But
yeah, I remember when I came back and moved back to town and everything, y'all were still doing the whole social distancing thing. I think it was like I just started having classes again.
Yeah.
They had like everybody stayed on like one punching bag. You were like going around wiping down every single thing constantly.
I was just worried, man, because like you're seeing like all these reports, and of course California is a different story, but you're seeing like dudes that are just showing up there to their gym to like clean the place, to make sure everything's still in order, and they got like sheriffs showing up and they're like, hey man, we're going to arrest you for being in your business, you got to be closed. And he's like, dude, I pay the rent, like I'm just cleaning, like I'm not running a business. So I was a little bit worried that somebody would pop in and try to give me some trouble for that. So had to be safe for a while, but
I don't know if you know the situation going on with Friends Pub in Friendswood.
Yeah, dude.
That shit is crazy.
What
you hear
happened?
about that?
I haven't heard about that at all.
Pretty much the Friendswood Police Department is kind of just like harassing them a little bit. That's what they're saying, and then they keep prosecuting them for violating.
So Friends Pub, rules. Right? It's called Friends Pub. It's a bar and grill.
Yeah.
Right, bar and grill. So.
They have food. Their food's good.
Their food is good.
Well,
their burgers, great burgers.
I like going there. It's cool, man.
I used to go there and watch the fights all the time, go get some food, go get some drinks. It was a nice little spot until other people I knew started going there I didn't necessarily care to be around, so I found a new spot. But no, Friends Pub is great, and it was a situation where they opened back up, and they were they opened back up. They're serving food, they're doing their thing, they're operating like they're supposed to. They're a business, and you're a bar. Bars aren't supposed to be open.
But I've been told, like, or from how I understand it, is like as long as you're selling some kind of food, you're treated as a restaurant, which means you follow the restaurant rules.
Bar and grill.
Go in with the mask.
It's almost like an inflammatory thing too, because of the way that Friends Pub is kind of just blasting them. You know what I mean? It's gonna make them.
Yeah, and then
it's almost like dude. It just reminds me of like The Godfather or something. Like, you gotta pay us for your protection.
No kidding, right? Some kind of crazy stuff, man. What's up with Friendswood PD? Good thing I'll be out of there.
Yeah, I've heard some bad things about that area when it comes to that subject.
No.
But that's just me.
No, the owner, she's a sweet lady. If you've ever like actually spent time in there and talked with her, super sweet lady. Cancer survivor, fighter. I don't know if she survived. I don't know her name per se, but I've been in there and talked with her quite a few times. That owner over there, and sweet lady. So to kind of see.
All this
somebody who is such a genuine person trying to run a genuine business just get attacked like that. It's just, you
hate to see it.
Lose a little confidence.
They want everything to be like an LLC or like a chain. You know what I mean?
It's strange. Corporate.
So what's the plan going forward when you move and everything? Are you looking to try and open up another gym once you get there?
So actually, yeah. There's a couple gyms out there in the Midland area that are pretty good gyms out there. That's about 40.
Odessa, Midland?
So that's about 40 minutes away. So the city we're actually going to be living in is Big Spring.
I feel like I've been there.
Big Spring's a beautiful city. I honestly dig Big Spring. It just seems like a slower pace of life out there.
Yeah, for sure.
It's got a nice big state park that I can go up there and just like clear my head at. Like, just different. It'd be nice to get out of Alvin. I've been here, my whole life, so.
Yeah,
nice to get out there and experience something different. Nice. But I definitely do plan to bring
a different world.
Bring some martial arts over there to Big Spring, because it doesn't appear that Big Spring really has anything.
You can bring, since they're not going to use the name Oracle MMA,
right?
Over
Yeah,
there,
so
and that's
kind of the cool thing about it. It's not that he's necessarily buying my business. He's
more buying the space.
He's kind of buying the space. He's buying the things that are come with it.
Well, Frank,
I'm going to be able to take some stuff. Frank's going to stick on and
right.
and coach as far as I know. They've been kind of working something out. He's going to at least commit for a good while there to help keep things going. So y'all still have Frank to, do what Frank does best.
To
and
choke us out and make us all feel really bad about our
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu skills.
Yeah, but man, he does it to make us better. He kills us for a reason. And it doesn't feel like it always, but then you'll hit a point, man, and, it comes together. Like, Axel, man, he's lately hit a freaking stride. Like, he's a...
Yeah, every time I show up, I always
he's tough to
notice
deal
him.
with.
He's getting a lot better.
Tough to deal with, man.
Frank is, one of my favorite kind of things in martial arts, which is, the black belt who knows he's better than everybody there, but, just uses that to train everybody, where it's I'll let you do your thing, but then I'm going to show you how someone's going to counter it.
But
and I'm
that's
keep
a beautiful
doing
thing,
it
though,
so you can
man,
keep learning.
the way he teaches compared to, I think, the way a lot of people teach, and not even just jiu-jitsu, any martial art, really, they get really into a habit of, this is the technique. This is how you do it. You have to put these things in place. You have to control the wrist. You have to get the hips under. You have to, this and this, and it has to be just this and this for it to work. But let's be real. I'm a little bit more flexible than you are. You're a little stronger than I am. Things are going to work differently.
Definitely
Body
easier.
types, you know.
It's definitely
And-
easier when if I'm on top. I can hold you down a lot
He's
easier.
trying to say I'm a bottom. I think he's no. But he's really good about forming your game.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that can work, and this may not work for you, but you can do it this way.
It's
Where
a lot
I'm not
more
gonna-
about giving the pieces rather than the whole thing.
Yeah, he's really all about the concept. Look, this is the concept of what you need to do. These are the things you have to have in place, and whether you do it this way or that way, the end result's the same, right? It's discomfort, and it's lack of blood and lack of oxygen. It's kind of the name of the game,
So, what's it like to punch someone in the face as hard as you can and then shake their hand afterwards?
So that's kind of a crazy thing, right?
On a daily basis.
It's not for everybody, right? Yeah, fighters are a rare breed. We can punch each other in the face and be best friends and almost better friends because of it. I've made a lot of friends punching each other in the face, particularly Cody Vitorito. I don't know if y'all know him. He's a local guy as well.
Sounds kind of familiar. I think
he was the one on Facebook who I think we were having a conversation about something, and he talked about how y'all I think elbowed each other in the face once at a fight.
Yeah.
They are good friends.
Yeah, so me and Cody, we both were always the small, scrappy dudes in high school, We didn't really hang out with the same people in school, didn't really have the same friends or anything. And, I had been training a little bit. Cody had been training a little bit. Cody actually had been doing some, what they would call underground MMA fights back then.
Smoker fights.
Yeah, that's what they call them now, smokers. But back then it was
Blood
underground.
sport.
And they were, sketchy situations in Galveston at the strip club down there, dude. Ocean's Cabaret. Can
Oh
you
my
imagine?
God.
Jesus.
Okay, yeah.
So sketchy.
Every time I drive by that place, I think of From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, dude, sketchy place. Sketchy,
You know what I'm
sketchy.
talking about?
I've never been there, but that's all you need to say for me to get the
Just
feeling.
imagine Cheech Marine out there
Oh, man.
in the front just yelling.
Yeah, man. Well, they had that one-legged stripper over there.
Really?
Yeah, her name was Peggy, bro.
I think my mom
it's not
actually
even,
said something
it's not even
about
a
that.
joke. It sounds like it would be, but it's a legit thing.
Did she incorporate that in her dance, or she's just?
I think I don't. I mean, it can't be her real name because that would just be too.
Oh, that'd be too.
But
on the nose.
she took her gimmick and she ran with it. You know what I mean? I bet.
Yeah, there's dudes out there that be drunk enough to be like, one-legged stripper, yeah!
Oh, I mean,
throw your one leg over
Boom,
me.
she becomes...
There's that one
The
midget
star.
stripper that travels the world. Her name is Gidget the Midget. You
Okay.
can't tell me her birth name is that just...
Her name can't be Gidget.
No, it's too perfect. It has to be... She has to roll with that gimmick, right?
I think it takes a lot of.
People will go to
Fucking-
lengths, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, can you imagine the girl that goes I'm gonna be the one leg stripper.
Yeah.
She's I got one leg, but I'm gonna be that stripper. People are gonna come
That's some
around.
confidence.
Dude, have you ever
man.
seen that movie Planet Terror?
Yeah.
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
She has the.
Dude, I love
N16
that
on her leg.
movie, dude.
Yeah, I've actually got the posters of both of those, Death Proof and Planet Terror, on my wall.
Hell
man.
yeah.
I love those.
Those Grindhouse films are great.
But yeah, that whole punching each other and being friends, man. The funniest thing is like I said, me and Cody both were training and both were fighting and didn't really know each other. And like a couple people that we went to high school with were like, hey, y'all should fight. And then it kind of became this weird like, oh, is Cody thinks he can beat me up? And I think Cody was like, oh, Aaron thinks he can beat me up. And we met at the gym one day and sparred, and we were like best friends afterward. We were like, so you want to do this again tomorrow and like keep training together? Like, you want to keep doing this? And been great friends ever since. It's just weird.
Yeah, there's something about like the bond you form with someone like that.
Oh yeah, dude, it's a
like me and Chance.
It's a weird thing.
Me and Chance knew each other in high school.
Well, you talking about Chance, random Chance?
Yeah,
Chance,
random Chance, man. He's got hands,
guest.
bro. Don't let him fool you. That boy's got some hands.
I've seen videos.
We would hang out sometime. We were never really that close, just kind of friends. And I just remember, he's talking about training he did at that MMA gym. I can't remember the name.
Yeah, ASGC, man. Shout out to Tim White, Gerald Hill, OG coaches, man. I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for them guys really seeing it in me early and pushing hard.
Yeah, and I was like telling him, I used to do Taekwondo, all this stuff back in the day. I was like, would you want to like, show me some stuff, like train? He's like, yeah, I could take you in the backyard. And we would meet up every Tuesday and Thursday. He had a little speed bag. I brought this like little weird, crappy reflex bag that was like, just the mount and then the stick.
The little ball that would bounce back and forth.
Like a Cobra bag.
I had some of those, yeah.
Yeah, and like we would just go through cycles. And I remember the first time we sparred, like he just beat the shit out of me. Like, I mean, embarrassingly.
He'll surprise you, man.
Yeah, like, I mean, I was like contorted right here, just getting wailed on. And then he was like, I was like, so what did you think? Like, well, what should I work on? He's like, well, I mean, a lot of things. Pretty much everything. But what he told me was...
I can just imagine him saying, yeah, well, a lot of things.
He's like, yeah, we got a lot
like that, dude.
Just like that.
Like, we got a lot of things to work on here. But one thing he told me was like, I would hit you with some good shots and you just kept coming forward. He's like, keep that mindset. And we would go and then every once in a while I'd start catching him with some stuff. And obviously Chance was always winning.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was a competition.
Yeah,
but,
man. Well, I had an old training partner back in the day that was like, honestly, man, like your best skill set is your ability to take punishment and to keep coming at me. Like that shit gets really tiring to hit you in the face and not feel like I'm doing anything.
It's one of those things you can't really teach people.
No.
Like they might be able to figure it out on their own, but like you can't show someone.
It's a mental thing.
Sometimes people lose that too. Mm-hmm. After a while, you get knocked out so many times, you lose that glass jaw.
Yeah. Well, you can only get knocked out so many times. Like Overeem has been knocked out, I think, like 50-something times.
Yeah.
And it just, your brain can't fucking handle that anymore.
Yeah, man, I don't know, man. I think that's why I have a really probably bad habit of like headbutting punches. Like I try to always take it on the forehead. I feel like my forehead's a lot harder than the bones in your hand. You're more likely to break your hand than break my forehead. And
well, there is that.
I might have a headache and CTE 15 years later from now, but I've never been knocked out, so
there
I'm
is the
pretty happy
method
with
of that. There is the method of like taking the punch like right here on like the crown of your skull. Like you ever seen that monk that fights in MMA where he headbutts punches?
Those monk dudes they're something else, dude. Like they're taking nut shots without a diamond cup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's crazy how they can just lean on like a spearhead. That's the one that I'm like, how the hell is that not doing anything? Like,
well, I watched.
It's got to be a mental fortitude thing. Well, it's got to be.
It's about like.
It's a beyond physical thing. It has to be.
You're taking the blunt of the strike, like not the top of the head, but right here, and like the shock and the energy is like just going straight through your whole body. And so you're kind of like headbutting the punch like right here, and like if you did it perfectly, it's actually like a decent little way of blocking a punch.
Yeah, yeah.
I watched like a little video breaking down that some YouTuber, I can't remember his name, that bald guy that talks weird. Have you ever seen him?
That dude you were talking about reminds you of me?
No, not that guy, no.
I can't remember what that guy's name is.
I don't even know what you are talking about, but I could see the offense in his eyes.
No. Because he brought that guy up, and I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about. And he sent a video to me. There you go. And I was like, yeah, I could see the similarity there.
He looks like an older version of AJ here.
Yeah, like post losing my hair, It's in the process. I'm just not where he's at yet.
Yeah, it was like a dude that was in those like street beef fights.
Well, you can.
That's what I'm trying to do. My wife's like, you need to cut it. She's like, long hair or short beard or vice
I'm trying
versa.
to grow my hair out a little bit, man. It's in that awkward stage, you know?
Yeah.
It's the worst.
I'm trying the opposite right now. As like people can see here, I'm like trying to cut it short again. Maybe thinking about doing like a little taper fade or something on the side.
There you go.
Kind of feel like it's time to grow up a little bit with my hair. I've had this like little
Dude, you gotta get
mop
a
on
taper
the
fade,
top.
sir. Get it, fade that shit to 0, make it look nice.
That's what I'm thinking.
Get that
about
high
doing.
and
like
tight,
a gradient
that
fade.
high and tight, like racist cop haircut. You know?
Oh, with the, like the top,
Yeah.
flat top.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, just like that. And then you gotta get some Oakleys.
Oh, I ain't wearing Oakleys. You get that like get on the fucking ground haircut.
Like someone gets that haircut, you know they're like they're that type. They're like a type of person. Like
That I'm
you
about
know
to
what I
turn the
mean?
body cam off haircut.
Yeah, golly.
But the cover my badge number haircut.
Sorry, I don't hate the police. Don't get me wrong.
Have you
I
seen
think there's
those
some crooked
videos?
ones, but I don't hate them all. I
Have you
think
seen
they
those
have a place.
videos where there's like that dude goes up to the police lieutenant or whatever, and he starts asking the police like lieutenant outside of the police department, like, what are you doing here?
Oh yeah, yes. Being a cop to a cop.
Oh, you've been
Yeah.
here all day? Okay. Yeah.
He's like, hey, I'm gonna call the
Yeah.
cops. And he's like, okay.
Hey, I'm gonna need you to stand right there. I need you to take your hands away from your pockets. Like he's just talking to these cops like that. It's so funny. Saw one where he got a cop like to get him like he like put his camera all through this cop's backpack and stuff. Like they just I don't know, dude. It's just
It's a good way to get shot, man. I'm all for fun and games and jokes, man, but I'm not trying to test the police, man.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do all that.
So I wanted to ask you, since we're talking about your fighting and everything, in 2012 you fought Alan Wilson. For your
Yeah.
amateur debut.
Yeah, man.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? How it was fighting officially?
So that was actually a really freaking cool experience, man. Because I actually got to go up there at that promotion and watch some of my teammates fight. And, man, I was all just geeked out on it. I was like, man, this is like a legit promotion. They got a freaking cage. Look, it's in a casino. Like, Texas doesn't have casinos. We went up to Oklahoma for it. And so I finally caught that fight. And this guy, you know, he'd already fought. His record was 0-1 going into it. So in my head, I was like, man, I'm coming in. Like, he's probably going to have something to prove. Like, you know, we'll see how this goes. Being in Oklahoma, expecting him to be a hardcore wrestler. It's pretty popular up there. I ended up getting my hand raised in 55 seconds. And it happened so quick that, like, at the time, I was like, damn, what just happened? You know, like, this is crazy. But then getting back to go watch the video, man, I really kind of stuck to the game plan I had to myself. But I think with the adrenaline and how everything happened so fast, I didn't really process or register everything in the moment. It was just a very surreal moment that first time. But after that, it got a little more comfortable, you know?
And your first 3 fights, like that's all were like first round wins, right?
Yeah, man. I don't know, dude. I was on fire. I really was. Honestly, it was probably the worst thing for me. I honestly think so. Winning those fights that fast. Because, you know, I won that first one in 55 seconds.
you just thought you was the shit.
I did, dude, and I was young, dude. I was young, man, you know, and I'm like, dude, I'm on top of the world. First win, 55 seconds with a rear naked choke. Seconds, 45 with an arm bar. The third one, I think, was even faster. It was a TKO. And, you know, at the time, I'm like, dude, my fights are just getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And I went to go fight for the championship for the next fight, and just, man, the dude got me. Picked me up, dumped me on my head. It's kind of like a flash knockout situation where, like, I remember him shooting for the takedown. I kind of tried to snatch up a guillotine as he was coming in. He went for that little high C wrestling takedown and just dumped me. I remember landing on the back of my neck.
Oh.
And then just kind of like coming to, and he was in full mount just throwing punches, and I'm like, oh, this sucks, you know, like this is not at all where I wanted to be. And I got just instinct, you know, of course, turned over, gave my back, wrong thing, and he slipped the choke in quick. I remember getting up, and like I think the worst part about that was I felt like I'd had so much hype, and I was buying into my own hype, which, like, for anybody listening, whether you're a fighter, musician, whatever, don't buy into your own hype, dude, because that's when
you take that shit for granted,
dude. You do, you know.
It's
I
almost
really did.
Cody Garbrandt situation,
Yeah,
in a way.
And I remember like getting
I remember
up
thinking
afterwards.
he was the shit back in the day. He's
Cody,
still the shit. He's fast.
Yeah, Cody's he's a bad dude. But I just remember getting up after that and looking around, and like my brother flew in from Alaska for that fight. Like a lot of my team came out. My whole family was there. Like, and I remember just like getting up, and it happened so fast that like I looked around and was just like, I don't know. You know, like I was just all shoulders, you know what I mean? I was just like, I don't know what just happened really.
So it's like, I've had that happen to me before, a little flash knockout. And like how I always explained it was like, it's like someone turned the lights off in a room and then
for just a second. For just like a little
boop. It's almost like you had the same feeling as if you woke up like in bed, like when you wake up in the morning, but standing up. Well, I mean, because you weren't standing up at the time.
It's like that feeling when you wake up in the middle of the night thinking you overslept and like you didn't hear your alarm. You know, when you wake up and just like your heart's already out of your chest. You're like, what happened? Like you turn into Doodle Bob all of a sudden. You're just like.
I had a fight. You remember when Chance used to do like little backyard fights?
Yeah.
I had a fight back there where we were both a little drunk, and like I'm doing well at first. And it was before I kind of figured out head movement. I still kind of don't really get head movement down real good.
Takes a lot of practice, man.
And this guy would just kept throwing these big windmill, like not Brock Lesnar, the Iceman, or Chuck Liddell. He kept throwing these big Chuck Liddell
Francis
swings.
Ngannou's at you.
Yeah, and I missed. I slipped one. I'm just jabbing him up and everything, and then just one hits me. And I remember every time it hit me, I was getting this like little like everything turned black for a second, and then I was like, okay. And then he hit me with one big one, and then there's a video of it. There's a video of it, and if you watch it, I almost just kind of stand there and just do this, and like just stand right in front of him like that. And everyone's like, what were you doing? Like, why'd you just stand there? Did you hesitate? And like,
dude,
no, I was out.
Fucking conscious.
There was no consciousness.
Man, no. So I had the same thing happen to me, man.
Yeah, I remember waking up. Like, it was as if, like I said, you wake up in bed in the morning. But I woke up, I didn't know where I was, what was going on. I just seen him coming forward, this big giant dude. Like, I was like, I'm in a fight. I see headlights. I see, like, silhouettes of people around me, and I'm just like, okay, all right, something's going on.
It's a real feeling. It's a reality check for sure. I remember I fought a dude, Spencer Hanley, man, tough freaking dude. We went all 3 rounds, went the whole thing. But in the second round, he hit me with a punch that made me forget like a whole half of a round. Like you can see it too, like because we're sitting there trading, and he set it up with a kick and then like came over the top with a punch that just landed clean. And like I did the same thing how you were kind of explaining. Like I just got stiff and froze, and then just right back into autopilot. But it was like the whole rest of the world was going on, but somebody hit the pause button on me, and like the crowd's moving, everybody. I'm just. And we're back in. Like,
yeah, it's like just fucking a reset, like on your computer.
Yeah,
I keep snapping. I don't know why.
You just hold that button for 3 seconds and just.
Yeah, it's just straight up like a hard reset, man. It fucks with you so much.
You hit that Windows button, that doo.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever been knocked out before, but I definitely experienced that flash knockout before. I've been hit pretty fucking hard in the head before. I will say that.
Yeah,
that was on the beach, right?
Oh man, on the beach. Yeah, just hearing, shit happens, man. Shit happens at parties. You start mouthing off. People get their fucking heads punched. I mean, it just fucking happens.
Especially with alcohol involved. Alcohol and testosterone.
Alcohol is just bad, dude.
Alcohol, testosterone, egos. That's a good way to get your ass whooped or end up in jail, right?
Yeah, that's why I always avoided those situations.
Mm-hmm.
I just
not a good road.
Not a fan of being in those kind of environments.
Damn, so what do you think about this upcoming event? This upcoming UFC?
That McGregor fight? Ooh.
Yeah.
So,
what you got McGregor?
What's your prediction? What's the official AJ Wagner prediction?
Man, I think smart money, if you're like you don't necessarily want to lose money on it, the smart money goes with McGregor, right? Like he's the superstar. He's
also won the first.
He's also won the first fight.
First round.
Yeah. I think Dustin Poirier is a different fighter than he was that first time. I think he's matured as a fighter. His game has matured a lot. I mean, some of his past fights have been pretty good performances on his part. I think Conor McGregor also is a different fighter than they were, and it's kind of hard to see where those kind of the growth and the evolution of both of them. It's kind of hard to see how that happens.
Loud and pompous McGregor. No, he's serious McGregor.
Yeah.
Oh, that McGregor's still in there.
It is.
There's just another version.
He definitely fights differently now, though. If you really watch how he fights compared to like when he fought Marcus Brimage and in the first fight with Dustin Poirier, it's a different.
I think he learned from Mayweather.
I think Mayweather, the Diaz loss, and honestly, I think Khabib just ragdolling him, man. I think that those kind of losses will humble you. It'll do that to you. It'll make you reevaluate how you approach things, you know?
You know, I'll tell you what, though, the only way people can take him out is if he actually gets fucking choked out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think someone ever knocks out McGregor is probably be one of the craziest things to ever go
That's
down.
what I'm saying.
What's the hardest he's been hit?
You can wrangle him down to the ground, and you know what I mean, and get. But
you know who's really hit McGregor with anything really significant other than like when
Nate
Khabib
in that
caught him with a
second
pretty
round,
hard shot.
That's what I'm talking about. Khabib,
Nate
of
in
all
round
people,
2
though. Khabib clipped him and put him down.
Everyone remembers seeing that one fucking punch. Everyone remembers that. Everyone's just like, "Oh shit!" And it was just like, "Wow!"
That punch right there, I think, single-handedly is what won the fight for him because McGregor tried to laugh it off, and that's what you do. I laugh all the time when I get hit. I smile, I laugh. It's a part of the game, you know. But I think that's definitely. He was like, "Oh, I can't play like that anymore." You know, I got to watch out for that.
He also didn't have much of a camp, though, you know.
Yeah.
So, this one's
maybe
interesting,
he did.
though.
Maybe that's an excuse.
I've seen interviews with Conor McGregor's nutritionist saying, like, "Oh, we're accounting for every calorie that's going into his body."
My opinion, man.
Like, he's literally like a human bionic machine thing.
My opinion, though,
for fighting.
There's no excuses, though. Whether you had a camp or not, there's no excuses. You had an option to take the fight or not.
He lost, yeah.
You had an option to take the fight or not. You know, when they offer you a fight, whether you have 6 weeks, 6 days, 6 hours, man. Like, I've taken little smoker fights on 6. Like, they'll call me in the morning, like, "Hey, we need to fill a spot. You want to come in?" I'm like, "Yeah, I guess." You know? You know what you're getting yourself into at that point, especially at that level of the game. You know what you're getting yourself into. You've signed the contract. You know at this time I have to wait this amount. I have to fight this guy at this date. If you don't think you can win, then don't take the fight.
Yeah,
I
think
he totally underestimated him, is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, like Dana White put it recently, like there's 2 versions of McGregor. There's the one he doesn't like working with and the one he does like, and that's the one that like said when he says, "Hey, if something happens to Dustin or something happens to my opponent, like I don't care if it's 2 hours, 2 days, just give me somebody."
Yeah.
And he means it, like you can tell, and like apparently it's what he says is like that's the version that's here right now. I think it was the other version with Khabib.
Sure, he's hungry again.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I mean, it's hard. Like, it's hard.
I think McGregor will win. If I'm being honest, I think McGregor will win. But I think it will be interesting to see how both their games have evolved and how they compare now. You know, it'll be interesting.
I think it's
at a different weight, too, isn't it?
It's, yeah. The first one was at featherweight. This one's at lightweight. I think it goes the same way. I think it just goes a little bit longer. I think Dustin's a lot harder to put away these days. But McGregor's also a lot better at putting people away these days. So it's interesting.
I think McGregor needs to work the body early. He needs to get Dustin tired quick.
Yeah, because Dustin, when he like gets in that flow, like with Hooker, he's just up against the fence throwing elbows. It's
not a place you want to be.
Definitely,
it's not a place you want to be.
I think it's gonna be a sick ass fight.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
It's been a great fight.
For sure.
What do you think about the co-main event? Do you know much about Chandler? Have you been paying attention to him over the years?
I've watched a lot of his Bellator fights and stuff like that. Who is he fighting again? I can't.
Yeah, Dan Hooker.
Dan Hooker, that's right. Honestly, I think they're trying to set him up to win. I think he wins that fight. I think, not to take anything away from Dan Hooker, but Dana White is a very smart businessman, and I don't see him bringing him in to get dusted like that or something. You know, I think he's going to try to set him up to build him up a little bit in that promotion so he can cash in on a good event, and whether he wins or loses that one, that's fine. Dana got his money. you know?
Yeah,
it's not like with Ben Askren where
I was about to
everybody
mention Ben Askren.
everybody can agree. Like, we don't. I mean, he's the underdog against one of them Paul brothers. Like, that tells you.
Oh, he's the underdog?
He's the underdog,
Really?
the betting underdog, yeah.
I would bet on Askren.
Isn't that insane? A professional fighter?
I can't believe this happened.
Professional fighter.
They're going to fight?
Yeah, Ben Askren and Jake Paul.
What?
Yeah.
In the a boxing fight, in the Vegas odds.
Ah, but they're boxing, though.
I know, but it's like, first off, I mean, like, it's just so weird.
That's so
imagining
stupid.
Ben
we challenge a
Askren.
wrestler to a boxing match.
Well, actually, I think he tried calling somebody else out, and then Ben Askren.
He called a lot of people.
Yeah, he
called
did.
out Michael Bisping, all these people.
He called out that was it Ryan Garcia? Did
Yeah.
he pull up to Ryan Garcia's house?
Him and Ryan Garcia. That was a bit of a skit,
You don't want
I
that
think.
smoke, bro. You don't want that
Oh, yeah,
smoke.
Ryan Garcia would fuck him up. Like, in the blink of an eye, too. That kid's fast.
Like, I think he's smart. He's making a lot of money. He did well. You know, both the brothers are doing fairly well in their little exhibition.
It's just weird how
They're probably selling good merchandise.
Oh,
They
yeah, they've been doing
don't
that for
challenge
years.
people that would actually take the fight or even pose
Well,
a challenge.
they're smart. Like, I mean, look, if
They're
I
not.
was
They're. I don't know.
if I was a Paul brother and
If I wanted to look like a bitch to the average Joe, then I would. You know what I mean? I wouldn't call myself smart.
the thing is, look, it's smart because that's not what they want to do. They want to make money.
Yeah.
It's like, since they've been in the YouTube game, all that stuff, it's always
They have
always
money.
been money.
But they need to be careful, though, man. Some of them guys are calling out, like Ryan Garcia. Like, you don't.
But the
The
thing
is, man, everybody wants to start a fire, but nobody wants that smoke, especially not from Ryan Garcia. That's not a good.
I don't think they honestly want to fight anybody like that, at least for a while. I think they want to take easy fights, because you got to think about it. They got tons of money. They're getting trained.
Yeah.
Like 5 years from now, they're like, I don't like either one of those dudes, but a couple years go by, they're going to be good.
Yeah.
You train enough, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter who you
Anybody,
are.
I mean, it's a journey. It's not a race. I think if you have the right coaching and the right people behind you, anybody can do this. I've got a student that, you know, she's in her 60s, and every day she's like,
Fuck
I want to
yeah.
fight. I want to fight. I want to fight. You know,
Yeah,
like
that lady is like motivation. Every time I see you post videos of her, I'm like, man.
Dude, she's amazing. Honestly, like that's one of the hardest things for me right now, honestly, is like having to take a step away from the journey with her, because she's been with me for 2 years at least.
Is there anything you want to say to your former students, I guess?
Man, all the support, all the love, everybody that was with me before Oracle that came through and followed me over and supported me enough and believed in me as a coach enough to, you know, keep that dream going, like that. I can't repay that in any way, and I hate that things have ended this way, but the way it's going to work out with that new guy coming in is, you know, I'm going to have a place to train. I'm going to be here. I've got family here. My wife has family here. We're going to come down quite a bit.
You can do, yeah.
I'm going to be popping in and training with, you know, everybody that's over there too. So it's not like I'm just going to be gone forever. I'm going to be able to try to do some stuff. And a lot of the guys, you know, I've already told them when I'm in town, like, I'll hit them up. We'll go to a park if we got
If
to.
anything,
pull
you're
some
just
pads out
expanding
and-
the empire.
Yeah. Just, you know, just branching out there.
Yeah, I can't speak for everybody, but like me personally, as one of your students and everything, I got to say, like, you know, thank you for being
Hey,
like a
man.
really great coach. I've worked with a lot of people, just like over the years, like, you know, taekwondo, karate, all these things, but like you truly stand out as like the best instructor I've ever worked with.
I really appreciate that, man. Like, it's something that I really strive for, because I know that in the grand scheme of things, as a coach and trying to coach fighters, like, I'm a young guy in the business. You know, I'm a young guy in the game. I think a lot of that makes some of the other coaches out there probably think I don't know as much as I do, or I'm not as capable of coaching the way I am. But, you know, I always approached it in a way that, you know, while it is a business, man, I'm chasing the passion of what I love about this and not the profit of it. I was messing up a lot when I was young, and honestly, if it hadn't been for martial arts at all, fighting and all that, man, I'd be in prison right now. If I wasn't in prison, I'd probably be dead. And like, I know a lot of people probably say that, like, it's probably a super cliche thing to say, but like I did 5 years on felony
It's what it
probation.
is,
You
man.
know, like I got to a point where I realized it was either jail or fighting for real. Because either way, I'm fighting. It's just, what setting do I want to do this in? And, I beat the system, man. I'm not the statistic. I beat a 5-year felony probation, finished it, and haven't had any issues since. And
Dude, that's awesome, man.
it was a tough 5 years, but, I made it happen. And martial arts was really the only reason for that, because instead of going out and
Gave you
fucking
an
up every
outlet
night,
for that
dude,
frustration.
instead of going up and fucking up every night and getting drunk, like, man, I don't want to be drunk because I don't want to be hungover. I got to train in the morning. Or, oh, y'all are going to that party. I might catch y'all later at that, but I got to go in. I got class I got to go do. I got a fight coming up. It
Give you something to wake up to every day.
Yeah, it was just something a little more normal, a little more routine.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they get stuck in that situation of just messing up or doing something they shouldn't be doing. Just sometimes it takes a wake-up call.
Yeah,
and
whatever the outlet is.
there.
It could be that for anybody. It could be music. It can be art. It can be anything for that. Everybody, I think, needs that outlet to get that negative shit out of you. Otherwise, you end up just bringing negative into the world,
Yeah, I've been there where I took a wake-up call and I just was like, I need to find something. And took me a long time to find it, really, but I think once I started, training with Chance again and everything, I realized, it's a good outlet. It helps you, just really, push yourself and prove to yourself, who you are, what you're capable of, and then just get out a lot of that energy that's,
I think it
built
really,
up inside of you.
It really reinforces that sense of growth that we all look for in life. When you start martial arts, everybody sucks. When
It's
you start.
humbling, yeah.
I was the worst. I didn't know shit. I had no business thinking I was going to be a fighter. I was just some little scrappy little kid that was just basically throwing little lunch boxes at people. I wasn't throwing punches, not real punches anyway, It reinforces that thing of growth that everybody needs, and you have to have that outlet, right? Whether it is martial arts, like for me, like it was for you. If you don't have that outlet and the only thing that you're planting in life is negativity, you're only going to grow negativity. And if it's about growth, you have to choose. You're going to grow that negative seed, you're going to grow that positive seed. What are you going to do about it? But it's the truth, it may be some weird way to look at it, but life is all about growth, man. That's how we ended up in civilization we are now.
Dude. I think jiu-jitsu especially.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's anything more
That shit's
humbling.
The thing with that, you'll never know everything.
Yeah, you'll
never know everything.
And Frank that's why I like learning with Frank, because he shows you that. Even though he doesn't know everything.
Who?
Frank is the jiu-jitsu and grappling coach.
Yeah, Frankie Pinnell, man, he's a hell of a coach, man. He's
black belt in everything.
Where's this gym located again?
Pearland, Texas.
Pearland, nice. Wonder what they're gonna name it.
I think it's gonna be Texas Outlaw.
Oh, I think I've heard of them.
Texas Outlaw MMA.
Yeah.
So he's Frank is a black belt. I know he's second degree black belt in jiu-jitsu.
I'm not sure as far as specific degrees, but I do know that he is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's a black belt in taekwondo. He's a black belt in hapkido, aikido. He's got probably he's a lifelong martial artist. He's been doing it for as long as he could, pretty much. And the man just, once he got to one point on somewhere, he just seems like he moved on and moved on and moved on. And I think when I met Frankie 12 years ago, I think he was just then a purple belt at that point. And then throughout that time got his black belt, and I've been lucky enough to be able to train under him long enough to just get blue. So hopefully, we can keep something going there. And
congratulations on that, by the way.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just a couple nights ago, man.
Really?
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Because I've always had people tell me, dude, you've been doing it for 10 years. You should be a blue belt. You're hell. You keep up with blue belts. You keep up with purple belts, whatever. And it's man, I always did it for MMA. I never really focused on
one
jiu-jitsu as a whole. I learned enough for MMA, which is no gi. You slap a gi on, and it's a whole different world, game. Man. It's like speaking Chinese to somebody. It's different, and I never really focused on it like that. And Frankie definitely put a different kind of focus, and he really, if I was making a mistake, he did it. It was a situation where if I was making a mistake, and he saw me making that mistake over and over again, he'd catch me in it 12 times and be like, when are you going to stop letting me do this?
Yeah, I think...
when you teach me how. But, yeah.
I really love training jiu-jitsu. It's something when it comes to striking, I've done a little bit of taekwondo and stuff. For a dude my size, I could throw a couple of nice little fancy kicks. Not so much these days because I haven't been stretching.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, I've got a
that
Taekwondo
little-
black belt under Master Gerald Hill. I got a black belt under him in Taekwondo. That was back in the days of me and Chance training together and stuff. And
I think I had a purple belt when I was a kid. And then just
Yeah.
like every other kid, I just kind of like just grew out of it. And just one day was like, I want to do something else. Play soccer or something.
it happens, man. Kids
Yeah.
got to try things. They got to figure out what's for them, you know?
Shit, I got into archery as a kid.
Yeah, I was.
That's how you hit that bullseye at the Renaissance Fair.
Yeah, you know,
This
I
dude
did.
picks up a longbow at the Renaissance Fair and just sends a video just whoosh.
Damn.
Perfect
See, that's something I've
bullseye.
always wanted
Yeah.
to do, man.
I don't know.
Because I've always
man,
thought,
yeah.
like, into the world situation, like, you know.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool though.
zombies.
I had like a backpack on and everything, so it looked like, you know, The Last of Us or some shit.
You're right, yeah. Whether it's like
This thing
zombies,
goes, wow,
the
with a
purge,
longbow.
like into the world type situation, martial law, whatever you want to call it. You know,
Dude, if
everybody
I-
for themselves. You think about like
That's
a
a useful
gun's gonna
skill
make
to have.
noise. You know what I mean? A gun, like if you take care of the immediate threat, somebody trying to come up on your stuff, like you're gonna attract everybody
I
else.
think-
They're
I
all gonna
don't
know,
know.
like, oh, you have something to defend.
I think ideally the best weapon in that circumstance would be like Van Helsing's crossbow. You know what I
Dude.
mean? Like a repeating crossbow
That'd be the way to go.
with like the big rectangular squares on top where they drop the arrows in. And
It's just like a belt-fed crossbow. You're like, what?
Didn't we talk shit about that movie on the last podcast?
yeah, the
I
movie
think
is
we
kind
did.
of. I liked it, but it's not one you can go back and watch. I tried to go back and watch something last night and it was terrible. Oh, Smallville.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I tried to go back and watch Smallville last night.
Yeah, I wasn't ever much a fan of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never liked it.
Dude,
an
my
interesting
dad
take.
loved that show, man. Back in the day when Netflix would actually like deliver DVDs
Oh
to your
yeah,
house.
man. That was back when you had to go to Blockbuster, though. That
Yeah.
was the good old days.
Yeah, when they were actually competing with each other.
Mhm.
I do miss those days, man. Like your parents would take you and they'd be like, "All right, y'all can pick out 2 games."
Right?
to
Yeah.
rent."
All right, you get a game, a movie, and
And
a
you'd be
piece of
looking
candy.
at that for like 2 hours, just
Just
like,
go through looking at all the horror
there's
movies.
Doom
and all
3
the
right there.
animes.
Dude, so speaking of horror movies, man, I remember being a kid, like, back in the day, you know, in the 90s, and, like, you know, we had Hollywood Video down the road from us, and,
Yeah, that place is great too.
so I had this lady that lived in the apartment complex that would babysit me because my mom worked nights, and, like, you know, she would sleep during the day, she needed somebody to watch me, so I would be over there, and every now and then, like, she would take us to Blockbuster, she'd let all the kids, like, pick out a movie that we would watch throughout the week. And so I run off, you know, and I grab Nightmare on Elm Street #4.
Nice.
Dream Warriors, absolutely the best one, hands down. But I grabbed that and came up to her, and she was like, I don't know if you should be watching this, you know, because I was like 5 or something. And I was like, no, I watch this stuff all the time. And she was like, do you? And so, like, you know, we get back or whatever, and when my mom comes to pick me up, she explains the story to my mom, and she's like, oh, yeah, it's like his favorite movie. And the lady was just like, you let this kid watch this crap, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
shit, I remember watching.
but this was the
Friday.
90s,
Yeah.
dude. Like, things were different back then. Like,
Yeah,
I was in first grade, and I
Kids
walked
could
a mile
handle
down the
more.
road.
we could handle more.
To
You
go to
should have
school.
heard what they were like. Him and our last guest were talking about watching. I thought like I watched a couple bad movies, but they were talking about all these. How you say it? Syrian.
Oh
Oh,
no!
some of those, like,
Serbian
foreign
slashers.
Serbian. Have you ever
Yeah.
heard of the Serbian film? Don't watch it. It's not
No.
good.
Like-
It's the worst thing to ever
Yeah.
watch.
That's why our podcast in the post it's like in not safe for work, 18 plus. Like
Y'all
watch
oughta-
it your own.
Oh yeah, it's because you know if you can't handle an adult conversation about horror movies and describing what happens in them, then
Session 9 is one I would recommend. If you haven't seen Session
why
9,
does it sound so familiar?
it's
It
a
does sound familiar.
main synopsis. Basically, it's like an old school cleanup crew, and they're going through and they're gonna clean up like an old school like sanitarium to get it renovated for something, and then from there, things get spooky.
Oh yeah, like
I don't want to ruin
a
it.
haunted
Yeah,
asylum.
it's interesting.
Nice.
It's interesting for sure. That was one of the first ones in a long time that really kind of like gave me the creeps afterwards. You know
Dude,
what I mean?
if there's ever a movie I could recommend to y'all, you should watch Ichi the Killer.
Ichi the Killer. I'll have to check.
Well,
that
you
out.
showed me that movie.
Ichi the Killer.
My favorite part is like when the dude, what is it? It's because it's like the Yakuza, right?
yeah, it's
And
like,
he's
yeah.
like, all right, he's like, we need you to leave, and please don't take over the Yakuza. And he's like, okay. And he like walks out the room and they're like, oh, phew, like, thank God. And then he just busts back in and goes, I'm taking over the Yakuza. And everyone's like, oh, shit. It's like a horror movie, but like it's hilarious at the same time.
Like,
he acts like the main bad guy. Actually, he like accidentally tortures like the wrong guy or something. So he like gets down on his knees in front of the other gang bosses and like cuts his tongue out.
So we talking like Army of Darkness, horror, sense of humor, or like are we talking Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
This is more like
it's Japanese style.
It's Japanese. It's like a Japanese gang movie, but with like fucked up gore. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like they literally they fry shrimp on a dude's back. While he's hanging from hooks. Like
I think Eddie Murphy ate fried shrimp off a model's back once or something like that. There's like a picture of
like human
he was like
plate
eating
things.
something like that.
Think about it with the humor. Kind of think like Godzilla movies, like old Godzilla movies.
Okay.
Where like the movies weren't dark and everything, but you had serious thing of like Godzilla and monsters fighting, and then just wacky human nonsense of like a little boy running around as a robot, and then it turns into
Dude, that movie is not.
I'm just saying that I think because Japanese,
it's not a humorous movie.
It's just got little briefs of comedy, I guess.
Well, I don't know, man. I have a pretty dark sense of humor. So
that movie will mess you. Dude, I'm telling you, if you watch this and then you go back and watch that movie, Ichi the Killer, it's a Japanese movie. It's fucking.
My wife's
amazing. Message us when you're done.
My wife's a mortician. There's not a lot that really creeps me out. So I don't know, man. You marry into that? No, just kidding. I love her.
Did you ever visit her at work?
I mean, yeah, I've had to. It's not like it.
I've had to.
Like, no, I don't know. Like, I've gone up there and helped her and do stuff before. Whenever she worked, I guess locally to here, I've helped her out and stuff like that. When we helped their bosses out, especially because at that location, it was mostly just it was ladies, you know, and like I think like one of the window units went out one time in their prep room, and I had to go replace a window unit in the prep room.
Well, like handiwork and stuff.
I didn't have to like touch anybody or anything like that. Yeah.
So they really like. I'm sure you know, but like, do they really fill like the people up with like cotton and stuff like that?
I mean, I don't know the specifics of it. Honestly, I didn't go to school.
I don't want to know the specifics of that.
I think it's like they pull everything out and then just fill you up like a taxidermy.
Yeah. So I think a lot of it depends. I think. I mean, of course, I'll probably get home and like she'll watch this later on and be like, "You are an idiot. That's so not
you
even
fucked up
right.
here, and here."
Yeah. But no, I think like if you're like an organ donor or something like that, like they'll take stuff out and then they'll like replace it with something like maybe similar to cotton just to kind of fill that gap, I guess. But like if you have like an autopsy done, I think they like because they have to pull everything out. I think they just put it in Ziploc bags at that point and kind of load you back up like a deep freeze.
Cut everything. Like cut you fully apart. Though,
oh yeah, dude. It's there's a lot of work involved into it. Yeah, man. Again, I don't really know all the specifics, but yeah, it's a lot of work. It's pretty gruesome.
I just watched a lot of NCIS.
Yeah, a lot of Criminal Minds now.
Talking to the old bodies, and dead bodies, and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry, young man, we're gonna have to cut you open.
So you have plans to ever like fight again?
Yeah, man. So for a while there, I kept getting injured, and my wife was a little bit worried about my brain health and CTE and, a lot of those studies and stuff. So that kind of worries her because I always make the jokes anyway that she's got like 10 good years left, and then I'm going to be in a wheelchair and she'll have to take care of me.
Oh, Lord.
But I definitely do want to get back into fighting, man. It's one of those things where I don't know if I just want to, like, because I've never taken a professional fight. Like, I kind of got close to where I was about to go ahead and take that step, and then life happens and things didn't work out that way. So I don't know if it's a situation where
you had kids, huh?
No, no kids, no kids. Maybe soon. No kids yet. But yeah, man. I don't know if I want to like hop in and try to take like an amateur fight or something like that, just to kind of get back in there, get something on record again. And
dude, we'll go back in the parking lot right now. I'll take the camera.
It's as amateur as it gets.
I'll take you out there right now.
Parking lot's as amateur as it gets. I got a lot of
the first guy to walk out of the studio. And I'll be like, hey, we got $10.
Pull a Charlie Z on him.
Yeah.
Hey man, just touch gloves.
Like, you know who that is?
Yeah. I've seen him. He just offers to spar people, and he just like goes unnecessarily.
We'll do a little light sparring, bro. He's like, all right, cool, and then it's just like,
he's like, I'm 151-0. I'm a champion. You're like, I don't think that's how that works. Yeah, I don't think that's how it works, man.
And then Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, I think was it Anthony Joshua?
It was a 15-year-old kid.
Yeah, there was a 15-year-old kid, but no, it was Deontay Wilder.
No.
He was talking crap to Deontay Wilder, then like showed up to his gym and like at one point hit him, and like I've never seen a man slide across the floor like that. And yeah, it was pretty brutal, man.
Like saying he was gonna
I think it's crazy that
because he was talking about his family and stuff like that.
I'm gonna fuck your sister.
Yeah, he was saying some wild stuff, man. Saying some wild stuff.
You can see the fear in his eyes too. Like, goddamn, Deontay Wilder is fucking.
That's a big
scary.
Dude. That's a big dude.
I was like,
he just if he fucking hits you, you're out, dude. That dude's got a crazy record.
Unless you're Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
What did you think of that? Like, you think if they do another rematch, you think Deontay can like figure it out, or?
I'd like to see a third one.
There was something weird about like every once in a while, like every couple years, a fight comes up and everyone's like, "Oh, this person's gonna like wreck them. They're gonna win," and then I just get this feeling like. No,
maybe not.
The other person's gonna win. I remember when, who took the belt from Janechek? Rose Namajunas.
Yeah, Rose.
So when Rose was gonna fight Joanna, I remember I was sitting there with Chance and Lorenzo, and they're just like, "Oh, dude, JJ's gonna fuck her up. It's gonna be like another highlight," and I was just like. Now wait, I got a feeling Rose takes this. They're like, "You serious?" Like I was like, "I just got a feeling," and then we're watching it. I just remember like all of us just like Chance like standing in front of the TV, and we're just watching it like,
dude, yeah.
I just remember jaw dropped, everyone, and it was just like they just looked at me like, "How did you know?" I was like, "I just got a feeling." I had the same exact feeling with Tyson Fury in that rematch.
So I had that thought process with the Chris Weidman and Anderson Silva fight.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, I don't know why. I was like, when he got knocked out though, when he knocked him out, I was like, I have a feeling Chris Weidman could win this.
Around
and he was
too
like,
much, man.
Everybody was like, dude, out of everybody in the division, you really think Chris Weidman? I'm like,
dude,
he's a
lucky,
wrestler.
Though.
And wrestlers know how to explode off that back foot. They know how to get explosive with that. He's starting to throw hands more. Like, if Anderson does that crap that he does where he's all, which I can't say anything because I have a bad habit of doing crap like that too. But, with guys like, you have to know who you can do that with. And I felt like the way he was progressing, like it was a situation where if he pulls that Chris Weidman may be the guy to just be dumb enough to throw a shot in there. Everybody else gets too scared. He starts doing that. Wrestler's like, no, I'm not falling into that trap. I see what you did to Forrest Griffin and everybody else.
You think like, oh, just throw a quick, because he's like all open, and then he just fucking spins around, does like a tornado kick, and knocks you out.
Yeah, dude's an animal, man.
You ever hear like the interviews of him explaining that, where he's like, Matt Serra is in his corner, like just screaming, punch a fucking hole in his chest. Yeah. And he's just like, he said, I was just getting so frustrated with him doing all this stupid movement. I was like, I'm just going to keep swinging.
It is frustrating.
Do that little check hook.
That's why I like to do stuff like that, too. It's a bad habit, though, because I get clipped here and there. I pay for it.
And Michael Venom Page, you know who that is?
Oh, man, that was beautiful.
I followed him for a while.
That was beautiful.
Like, for years. And when he got knocked out.
Shout out to Lima, man.
That shit was brutal, dude.
That was beautiful violence is what
that was just like a picture perfect, like, dude.
I remember when you posted that.
But he's still a badass fighter, like, straight up. Michael Venom Page is a badass dude, and it was going to happen.
I remember your caption for that, and your post was like, oh, Michael Venom Page is human.
Yeah, I was like, okay, he's a human now.
What you think about this? Was it Michel Pereira? Michael Pereira, the dude that does backflips and shit in the ring.
Oh,
I don't know if I've really caught much of his. Man, I've kind of been out of the game lately, honestly, as far as keeping up.
Dude,
with
this
him.
guy will literally just stand over you and then do a backflip and land on his feet.
The big Brazilian guy,
completely ineffective, but just does it anyways.
He's like running off the cage and doing backflips.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. I saw the highlight of that afterwards, and I'm like, what is this guy doing?
It's very unorthodox, and then he'll just run around, do all these gymnastics, and you're like, And then all of a sudden, the hit comes out of nowhere, and then because he's accurate when
Every
he decides
now
he
and
wants
then,
to
man.
hit you.
Every now and then, stupid stuff happens, man, and it works.
Dude, it's worked for him. He hasn't lost, I don't think, huh?
No, he's lost.
Yeah.
I think a wrestler like got him and just fucking elbowed the shit out of him from the top.
Yeah, I mean, look, a broken clock is right twice a day. You know, anything could fucking happen in there.
Yeah, it's not a bad way of doing things. I mean, you can't train for that. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I was telling him, it's like
not a like who do you call in? Like
nobody
I'm
goes
just gonna
to the gym.
call a 7-year-old with ADHD to try to beat me up. You know, like because how else do you? Who else is gonna do that?
Yeah, I told him like nobody goes in the gym.
He'll literally just do a cartwheel at you. He'll just throw his whole body at you. Like it's
like, hey man,
hilarious.
we're about to start sparring, but like what I need you to do is like do a backflip at me. And they just like
I can't even do that on my own.
He'll just like handspring. He'll jump down and handspring off of one hand and just fling his whole body into you. Like,
yeah,
fucking hilarious.
He'll knock him down and then turn his back to them, and then do a backflip on like to get on top of them.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I've seen a lot of guys do that, man. There was a guy in Pride that did that a couple times. I'm pretty sure.
Didn't Frank just show us this like last week? He was showing us like passing the guard, and then he like did a backflip over on Cameron.
I think he did something like that. Yeah. I don't know, man. Frank, he's wild, man. You always think like, all right, I'm starting to catch on to Frank's tricks now, and you're like, no.
There's nothing funner than
a whole bag of them.
Doing pads with him. Like my temples, like I never got a chance to tell you that when we were doing that little exercise with like I think it was jab cross, and then block. Hook cross.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing it and I was like getting the rhythm. I was going real fast, going as hard as I could, and he was just like pushing me, like egging me on. And then when he started doing like the whacking me to block, he started like full on swinging.
Frank is a guy that he wants to make sure that what you're doing is gonna work.
Yeah, and
if we're traded to block something, you better fucking block it with Frank.
Yeah, I mean, I'm blocking. I'm just, like, getting whacked all over with pads in his hands. I woke up the next day. I'm like, man, what's wrong with my temples?
Just a little tender, you know?
I was like, do I have a headache right now? And then I was like, it took a whole day, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I know. I love that when you have to ask yourself,
damn.
Is this what a headache feels like?
Like, Frank, like, man, I feel bad for the person that, like, bumps into him at Target or something like that and tries to get in a fight with him. Like,
because he's like the nicest dude. He's the nicest dude in the world, and like I could definitely see somebody like some like young dumbass, like some headstrong like 20-year-old that like bumps into him in a parking lot or does something stupid, thinking that they're gonna get over on this old man, and dude, not the one, or he is. Depends on what you're looking for, but I promise you, it's not gonna be.
He would wreck somebody's day, and they would be waking up in the hospital like, oh, dude, what happened? Like, dude, this like 50-year-old dude beat the shit out of you in the parking lot.
Yeah. But Frank's the nice guy that would probably show up to the hospital and be like, all right, now this is how you defend against that. You know, like, just so this doesn't happen again. Like,
he'd probably like do something. He'd probably just like slip the punches and then do like some movie shit where he like twists the wrist and has him down doing like a little chicken wing.
That's the issue with sparring with him.
Straight up the spot.
Yeah.
When that dude throws kicks at you, you don't know what angle it's coming from. Like, it's the hardest thing to judge. Like, whether it's a roundhouse kick, a crescent kick, a side kick, a hook kick, like the way his knee and hip functions, it's entirely all the same. You never, it's like, okay, kick's coming, block everything. Like, you can't like, you know, plan a counter where it's like, all right, I'm going to take it on the glove and step in, like, because you may fuck up and still get hit, man.
And he does that step on your lead foot thing.
He's like, where are you going?
Oh,
yeah.
man.
I seen him do that. I seen him do that to you sparring once, and I was like, I've never seen that ever. Like,
yeah,
that was
be like,
the craziest thing.
Because I'm not trying to stand in front of Frank and take that punishment. Nah.
Because he'll like lift the leg like he's gonna kick, so you're just like watching it, and then all of a sudden his foot is on your foot,
while he hits you.
And then he just starts throwing punches, and you can't move.
I feel like he's real light about it though sometimes, and you don't realize that like he's on your foot until you try to step back, and you're like, oh, I'm stuck. That's okay.
Well, shit, man. I just want to thank you for coming on.
Hey,
man.
I appreciate y'all having me over here, man. I really do.
Yeah, like I said, you were one of the first people I wanted to have on here, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
Definitely
man.
a lot of fun. I think we got into the core of AJ Wagner.
Yeah, man. I like to punch people. I like getting punched. I like to teach people to do it, and
Yeah, look out for
so.
Oracle MMA Big Spring.
Yeah, if you're in Odessa,
Midland, Odessa, Big Spring
yeah.
area. Yeah.
you got the perfect guy coming to train you.
Hey,
Eye
dude.
out, keep an eye out.
I will have to say, if you find yourself in Monahans, which is a little bit west of Odessa and Midland, just a little bit, like maybe 30 minutes, because there's actually a meteor crater out there. It's pretty cool to check out.
Hey, yeah.
You can actually buy pieces of like meteor there. It's crazy.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
But there's a
definitely check that
burger
out.
stand there. It's called like the Super K Burger or something like that. And I know that's like a menu item at Kelly's restaurant, but it's like
That's
an
like the
actual
original?
diner that's just called that, dude.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah,
The
I'll have to check
best,
that out.
the best little dirt burger spot.
What'd you say it was called?
It's called like the Super K
No,
Burger.
the city.
Oh, it's in Monahans.
Monahans. All right, I'm gonna have to keep that.
Monahans. It's a Monahans meteor crater. There's also some sand dunes out there, the Monahans sand dunes, and it's like a state park. And you can go out there and ride your dirt bike and shit on the sand dunes. Pretty crazy.
You have to get you a dirt bike.
Run into Napoleon Dynamite's grandma out there.
Right.
On the ATV.
Yeah.
I have a friend who she does that kind of
What
stuff.
was she
It's
doing
crazy.
at the dunes?
Yeah, dude. All right. Well, thank you again, man.
All right, appreciate
This
it,
has been
guys.
a Dab of That podcast,
Dab of
episode 3 here with AJ Wagner.
Thank you,
Like
man.
and subscribe, people.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Subscribe and like.
Yeah. Cut! Hey, man, that was good.